Hey guys, it's Coach Jason. I hope you're doing well. What are some signs that you're not recovering properly or your athletes are not recovering properly? What are the signs that say, okay, I need to dial back the training a little bit, okay, or kind of move things around a little bit for him or for her or for myself? These are important things, okay, and sometimes they're overlooked. Some of them are obvious, some of them are not, but it's an important component to training, okay? Recovery is as important as um, your long runs, your workouts, your easy runs, your strength training, all that type of stuff. Okay, it's taking care of your body. All right, and it's very very important. Um, but what are some of the signs? Okay, that you're not recovering properly. Could be an elevated heart rate in the morning. For especially several days in a row. It could be a sign of overtraining. It could be a sign you're not sleeping enough. It could be a sign of both at the same time. Okay, sleep is key. Okay, training, and as you know, whether you're training for the mile or the 5K or the 10K or the marathon, it's not easy. Okay, and it takes an extended period of time to get you where you want to go. You've got to be consistent. Okay, those are all important components of the training. But plugging in recovery along the way is also important. Okay, honestly, and I've, as of over 20-year experience as a former competitor and a current coach at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level, one of the things that I've learned is there's no magic workout. Okay, there's no magic run. There's no magic peak. There's no magic taper. Okay, if you're consistent for a period of time, let's say you're training, let's say you're giving yourselves 20 weeks. All right, it's a long period of time, but for a marathon. And you lay out the training, schedule the marathon, build your long runs. You start to build things around it. It is good to build the training around the races that you want to run. Okay, that way you know how to plug things in. If you're training and recovering along the way sufficiently, then you won't have to rely on a huge taper, okay, or a huge, peak, whatever it is. Because keep in mind, the body takes 3 to 4 weeks to adapt, 21 to 28 days to a certain training stimulus, okay? It's called periodization. I say this in tons of my videos, and it's important. What does that mean? That means, during a mileage buildup, okay, at some point in the beginning, okay, it's good to build up to where your goal mileage is, or you're close to your goal mileage, depending on where you're going. If you've been running 40 miles a week and you want to get up to 50, okay, that's a good number instead of 40 to 80. But you build up to 50 miles a week over a 4-week period or something, okay? And it shouldn't be that difficult if you've already been running 40 miles a week. Even if you've taken a few weeks rest, you can build yourself up. Once you're there, you can level off, okay? And then every few weeks, you give yourself an off day with it. Let's say every 14 or 21 days. So, and let's say for 50 miles a week or 49, it's an average of 7 miles per day, okay? For a 14-day cycle, you're running 7 days one week, 6 days the following week, but you're averaging 7 miles. So you're 49.50 one week, and you're like 42 or 43 the following week, okay? And that's the average. So your average isn't changing, okay? That's what the purpose of the off day is, to allow you to recover, okay? And if it's a 21-day cycle, then you're running 7 days, and 6 days with the off day in the third week. But it's a consistent pattern that you can follow, instead of having to increase, and then go down, increase, and then you're constantly increasing. The problem with that is sometimes at a certain point, your body's not going to be able to adapt to it, okay? Like I said, periodization needs to take place. And the last thing you want to do is increase volume and intensity at the same time. You want to avoid that. That can be dangerous. It can put you or your athletes in a position to get hurt or injured. So, I know I'm speaking somewhat conservatively, but dealing with athletes at every level, it's important to identify these particular needs. And everybody has different needs. Some people can handle more intense training. Some people cannot. So it's important to find the appropriate medium for everybody. But along the way, recovery has to be taking place. Okay? Like I said, an elevated heart rate in the morning could be a sign of overtraining or undersleeping. Okay? So, tender legs could be a sign too. Quads being heavy, calves tender to the touch, Achilles sore. Okay? Particularly, if you're undergoing a hard bout of training and you're not sleeping enough and so on. Okay? That's important. If you're not stretching enough and flushing out your legs pre and post workout, that's another sign. Okay, that you need to, that's adding some type of recovery component like a stretch after a run or an ice bath after a run is a good idea to help speed up recovery. Additionally, fueling your body 30 to 40 minutes after a run or a workout or a race of some sort is also, or after you cool down after a race, is a good idea to help speed up the recovery. Okay, but again, you can have the perfect training program, you can nail everything, but if you're not sleeping enough, it's going to catch up to you at some point. Don't know when, but it's going to catch up to you. Okay, so it's important to make sure you're sleeping sufficiently. Okay, because it also can prevent some of the other signs like getting sick regularly. Okay, which is another component that you might not be recovering properly. That's a sign. Okay, being fatigued more than usual, unmotivated to train, all signs that you could not, that you're likely not recovering enough. I'm looking at my training book, by the way. And again, going back and analyzing your training, and it's important to keep a diary of what you do, or communicate with your coach, and he or she can help help you keep a diary as well. That way you can go back and look and say, okay, I started to, I plateaued here, and then I started to, not race as well. But then you can go back and say, well, I didn't take any days off for 6, 8, 10 weeks or whatever. That could be a sign of restructuring things along moving forward. You might give yourself an extra off day or an extra easy day. Like I said before, you don't have to go hard 3 days a week. You don't have to go hard twice a week. You don't have to go hard. It's individualized components for everybody. Okay, what training works best for everybody. But the most important theme, or one of the most important themes, is recovering properly from workouts. Okay, and 2 examples I'll mention is running a huge PR. Okay, let's say you're a 17-minute 5K runner, and all of a sudden this past weekend you run 16:05. That is a big drop. Okay, or even if you go from 16 minutes down to 15:10, another huge drop. Okay, and that was a Saturday, and you generally follow a Tuesday, Friday workout schedule. Well, it might be a good idea to push that Tuesday workout back, or just not do it. Maybe do some short speed after a run or something like that and just do the Friday run. Generally, in my experience too, I've noticed that huge PRs tend to require a couple extra recovery days. Okay, even if you're undergoing a long stretch of good races, and once you're at peak fitness, it's about a 6 to 8 week window, but the last thing you want to do is overdo it and do more and more and more when you're starting to race fast. More isn't always better. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But the other thing I wanted to mention was longer races. Okay, you run half marathons. They obviously require more recovery than a 5K. A marathon obviously requires more recovery than a 5K. You can't do this every week like you do a 5K. It's a big difference. It requires a completely different recovery component. Okay, so signs, like I mentioned before, that you might need to tail things back are these types of things: aches and pains that are starting to become either in different areas or more frequent. Okay, elevated heart rate in the morning, irritability, fatigue. Okay, you're starting to get sick when you don't normally get sick. Okay, being unmotivated because of feeling this way. Okay, these are all signs, and signs that tell you, okay, I need to go back and take a look at what I've been doing and what I've not been doing. Okay, and it can tell you why I need to sleep more, or maybe I need to give myself an extra day of recovery after the long runs. Okay, or something like that. Whatever it is. And like I said before, there's no magic workout, no magic taper, no magic peak. If you're being consistent over a long period of time and you're recovering at the same time along the way appropriately, you don't need to make drastic changes at the end. Because like I said too, increasing something, whether it be volume or intensity, the body needs to adapt. On the flip side, tapering, your body needs to adapt. And if you go from 60 to 50 to 40 to 30 in like a 3-week period, your body doesn't have a chance to adapt because it's making drastic changes every week on the way down. If you go from 60 and you drop down to 40 and you stay there for 3 weeks, that's a different story. Okay, it's a block of training, lower volume, but the block of training needs to be somewhat consistent. Okay, so those things can affect your recovery too. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I hope this was helpful. If you found it helpful, please click the thumbs up. And if you like good content like this, if you're a coach or an athlete and you want to learn more, please hit that subscribe button and take a look at all the videos that I put out, detailed training programs, and I'll put a couple in the description down below as well. And hit the notification so you don't miss videos that I'm going to be putting out moving forward. It's really helpful to me growing this channel when you subscribe. Or if you share it with family and friends who are in the running community who you think might enjoy it or might be helpful for, please do. I mean, I want to share this with as many people in the running community as possible. Okay, I learn from my athletes just as much as they learn from me, and to me, it's important to kind of share things with and work together as a community in the running community because it is a big community, and the more people we can help, the better off we're going to be as a whole, as a country, as a community, and keep this running movement going. So with that, be safe, healthy, look out for each other, and I'll talk to you soon.